Yo, 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 this is the North Shore 9 podcast presented by FanDuel. Welcome to NS9 Live. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Ty, we have Jim, we have officially the first day of pitchers and catchers reporting. Fellas, how you doing?
I'm doing outstanding. It's a great day. Love it.
Great day to be alive.
I'm glad baseball's back. And it's nice to have a little bit of excitement about baseball season this year.
I know, right? I mean, at least we can have a little bit right now.
Yeah. Everybody's 0-0.
I think this is hands down the most excited Pirates fans could be since 19. I feel like in 19 you could have had some excitement. Things didn't go well, but I felt like you could have.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. I mean, this is the first time that there's like, I wouldn't say there's even expectations yet. It's more like, well, hope.
Someone has some expectations, hopefully.
Travis Williams has expectations.
Yeah.
But
now, if anyone's going to be accountable to those expectations, that's something different.
But no, I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, as long as we've been doing this podcast, at least the in this iteration of it, this has been the most exciting offseason we've ever been able to talk about. And yeah, as of today, like we've got players in Bradenton at Pirate City, pitchers and catchers reported today. It's a great time. I'm so happy we made it to this day, and now we get to we can talk about baseball now.
Yeah, I really enjoy the off season and talk. Like I know DiNardo loves that part of the season where you get to discuss all the potential moves. I'm tired of discussing potential moves. I want to watch some baseball.
You know, what's funny is I like it less and less, I feel, the more I do this show. And I feel like, you know what? Because I love that aspect of the game, of the sport. But then I have to talk about it at least like 2 times a week. Man, I don't like it as much anymore. Let's get to baseball season. It's so much easier when baseball's happening to talk about baseball.
Yeah, it really is. And like, there's just something about the beat writers being down there, taking the videos of the players doing BP, taking the videos of the bullpen sessions. Like it just gets you so excited. So I'm pretty happy. We've got Jose Negron joining us from DK Pittsburgh Sports. He'll be coming on here in just a couple minutes. He was down in Bradenton today, down at Pirate City. So he'll come on, talk to us about everything that he saw and heard today. So stay tuned for that coming up here very, very shortly. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. I mean, first and foremost, the Pirates signed Marcell Ozuna. None of us have actually really talked about that. We did an emergency podcast on Monday, so we'll talk about that a little bit today. Because they signed Marcell Ozuna, there has to be a 40-man casualty there. Some other updates, like the Jose Urquidy signing became official today, which meant they needed a spot for him. Jared Jones got put on the 60-day IL, which means he's out until at least late May. And then also we found out today, old buddy, the Cheetah, Jacob Stallings.
That's right, the Cheetah.
The Cheetah joining the coaching staff. He's moving into the player development staff. He's going to kind of be like a floating coach, coaching catching kind of from top to bottom. So yeah, some cool stuff to talk about today. I'm excited.
I'm very excited to have Jose on because he's already there in Bradenton, which I'm jealous about. So absolutely great show. But first, as always,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
We got to do the NS9 really stupid question to begin things off, right? Let's actually go ahead and get this, and we'll get Jose on. But let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Do you guys want to tell him what the
Yeah, while you're spinning the wheel, the stupid question today is going to be, what's the most insane thing that you've never done that you're 100% confident that you could do if you tried? So we're going to ask that to somebody completely random.
Uh-oh. Who is it? Oh, Michael Daryl Hicks, also known as Jim.
Simeon Woods Richardson.
Yes.
Right? So Michael Daryl Hicks, non-roster invitee to camp. He's down there in Bradenton right now.
That's right.
Am I sending this?
You can. Ty,
Okay.
carry the show.
Well, I'm now trying to think about what I would be the best at. And since it's Olympic season, I really feel like I would be great at curling. Does that not look like the easiest sport ever?
That's such a good
You
call.
You just sweep the ice. Like, I think if I dedicated a year to curling, I could probably figure it out.
I don't
It's
need
not
a
that
year.
different than bocce.
I don't need a year.
I
mean, this is just like when
Jose.
you go and you walk up to the field, and you stretch your one leg, you stretch the other, you bend down, touch your toes, and you're ready to go. I feel like that's curling. Like, just give me a couple tosses down there. I figured it out.
All right, let's bring on Jose. I want to ask him this question.
Jose,
What's
welcome
going
to
on,
the show.
fellas? How is everyone?
Doing pretty great. How's Bradenton?
It's a lot warmer than Pittsburgh, I'll tell you that much. It's been a good day. We got here around like 1 p.m. yesterday. Me and Greg McAfee are down here for DK Pittsburgh Sports. So got in yesterday, got some work done, and then obviously a full day down at Pirate City. So it's been exciting.
You guys are doing some cool stuff. I noticed like you're doing a lot more like video content this year. At least today, you had some stuff drop. Greg's, I guess, shooting some video, taking some pictures. You're doing some reporting. So yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys put together this next next month and a half. But before we get to the baseball stuff, Jose, what's something that you've never done that you're 100% confident you could do?
Something I've never done that I'm 100% confident I could do. I don't know. What are your guys' answers? Maybe I can base it off of what you guys think.
I'm 100% confident I could land a 737 jet.
Okay.
Like, as long as I had like a two-way communication with the tower, they could walk me through it. I could absolutely land that plane.
And you know what, Jim? I have a perfect opportunity. On February 21st, on your way down to Bradenton, you should try it.
I will not be on that airplane.
What do you think?
I don't even think
I'm
Jim
saying-
should be on that airplane.
I'm just saying, like, if the situation happens where, like, hey, is anybody here a pilot? I could be like, no, but I'm pretty sure I could do it.
Okay, I think I have a good one. I think I could make it like 3 laps around like a NASCAR racetrack without crashing a car. In like a NASCAR.
In,
Also,
a
like,
full race,
going
like,
200
with,
miles
like,
an hour?
with like 60
Like-
cars, or you
Like
by
maybe
yourself?
going a little slower. Like I'm not like Daytona where you're going like 200 miles per hour, but I'm at
Well, then
like
that's not. How fast, though?
but yeah,
Like,
but
you're taking
one-
this thing 60 miles an hour, then that's just driving,
no,
Jose.
No, I'm not. No, I'm
Okay.
saying like maybe going like 160. Like some of
You
these
could
like
be in the
shorter
race.
tracks.
Yeah, you could
Yes,
be in the
yes.
race. What you're saying? Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah. I'll go.
I think I have a better answer than my original, though. I think I could run a marathon. Never done it before. I'm out of shape. I haven't ran in a very long time. I could run a
Are
marathon
you
right now.
are you saying you could run a marathon like tomorrow or after
Yes.
training?
Tomorrow. I could get up right now and run a marathon. And I have not
That's the
ran
most
in
insane
5
thing
years.
anyone said so far.
I could.
That was quick. This was a record. Also, so Michael Dara Hicks responds and says, "Man, that's a tough, good question. One of the first things I thought of was completing a marathon." And
Wow.
as soon as I hit send is when I hit the alert. So there was no Tyler Michael Darrell Hicks
No.
connection unless
You've never seen us in the
Has
same
Michael
room.
Darrell Hicks and Tyler been in the same room ever?
Be the same person. You never know.
Although he's a professional athlete. Like, I'd hope he could run a marathon.
That's true.
You can take Kyle Hendricks deep and run a marathon.
I mean, I might be this generation's Bo Jackson.
Anyways, Jose, tomorrow when you head to Pirate City, you could ask Michael about that.
Yeah, see if he can. That's gonna be my story for tomorrow. Can Michael Darrell Hicks actually run a marathon?
Can you actually run a marathon? But yeah, let's kind of talk about it. So you were down there today. You were there all day. You mentioned in the feed on DK Pittsburgh Sports that just vibes felt different. I mean, it's spring. Vibes always feel different. Like, it's impossible to not have good vibes when you're in Florida in February watching and playing baseball. But like, what's different about this year?
Yeah, and I think it's a good point because, it's the first day of spring training. Like, everything, it's like the first day of school. Like, the excitement it's natural, right? Right. You go into, they walk into Pirate City and, they see all their friends and their buddies again. And it's a lot happier. It's naturally happy. I think the vibes were just a little bit different just because I think there's a little bit of a different feel around this team. Like, you see what they've been able to do this offseason compared to the last couple of years. Like, the last couple of years there has been positivity coming into the season in a sense, like you go in with kind of a open mind to what the team can accomplish, even when they hadn't done enough during the offseason to make the team better. And you're kind of like open-minded and say like, oh, well, internally, like maybe these guys will take the step forward. Maybe this will happen. Like, you're not relying as much on the external additions. This year, I mean, you have some proven bats that you're adding to the lineup. You have a couple of arms you're adding to the bullpen. So I think that kind of factors into it. I know Paul Skeens today, he's happy that there are external additions. He's obviously spoken up about what they've needed in order to be better in 2026. But he also, I mean, you guys know Paul Skeens, like, he's also a guy who's like, we need to do the work. Like, it doesn't matter who you have in this lineup, doesn't matter who you have in the rotation or the bullpen. Like, if we don't execute on what we need to do out on the field, it's not going to matter. So I think there's a lot of optimism, energy, excitement. Like, energy and excitement, those are the two words I really heard from multiple people, like players, coaches. Like, there's just a different feel around it. And I think guys are excited to see what they can do in 2026. And obviously they need to take a step forward because we all know 2025 was not at all good enough. They take a step back and now you made some things happen in the offseason and, they gotta show it on the field.
Well, speaking of Skeens real quick, it seems like he's been front and center so far. Are you seeing him kind of take on that role as this clubhouse leader? It seems like he's kind of the face right now. And of course he's the face, he's Paul Skeens, but I feel like you're really seeing that leadership develop.
Yeah, especially like, I mean, his actions on the field speak for itself. Like, guys are going to naturally follow the guy who's the best player on the team. And, I think that's by a pretty wide margin. I mean, he's arguably the best pitcher in baseball, so this is a guy who in less than 2 seasons technically has done things that, any pitcher would dream of in their entire career. Like, there's how many guys go through their entire careers without winning a Cy Young or Rookie of the Year, and doing what he's been able to do, sub 2 ERA. I mean, just the list goes on and on. Like, this is a guy who's capable of so much. So, you're naturally going to want to follow the lead of a guy like Paul Skeens, and he's not shying away from it. I think as a young player, like, sometimes you need to find your place. And I think at times in 2024, like, he needed to kind of know where he stood within that locker room. Like, he didn't want to maybe speak out of place, or he didn't want to like overstep. But I think he's at a point now where he's has the resume over these last few years. He's done enough to kind of show, hey, like, I can back up what I'm saying out on that field. And, that's, I think, a message that the entire clubhouse can follow. And guys respect the things he does off the field as well.
Speaking
I want to
of Paul
pivot to.
Skeens, Go ahead, Denaro.
Oh, you talk about Skeens?
No.
Oh, well, I want to pivot off of Skeens a little bit here also because
I was going to segue. I was going to use
Everybody's
Skeens
going to pivot
as
off
a segue.
Skeens.
Yeah.
yeah. So sticking with the pitchers and one that was kind of attached to his hip in his first year, Jared Jones. You know, like them was the combo, the Hundo boys, right? Jared Jones out all last year. The return is anticipated. We saw videos of him throwing, in the offseason today. First day he's throwing off the mound. What is the buzz about Jared Jones? Obviously, he went to the 6-day IL today, so we know he's not returning until late May. But what is the buzz about Jared Jones? What are you seeing from him in regards of coming back? I mean, is this like, hey, when he's ready to come off the IL, you think he'll be there pitching in the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, so much can change between now and then, but I mean, the way that he's progressing now, like, I wouldn't bet against Jared Jones. Like, he's the type of guy, he wants to be out there. Obviously, like, you have to take things slow and take things kind of day by day, make sure that, I mean, we saw it last year with Johan Oviedo, right? Like, he comes back, you feel like, okay, like this is another addition to this rotation, getting a guy like that back who, before he was hurt was a pretty, solid piece of the Pirates rotation. And then he has a setback and, it's all kind of lost, and he did come back and he was productive when he did return. But, that's the same thing with, Jared Jones. You want to take it slow. You want to make sure that he doesn't, re-aggravate the injury or do something completely different that, because I mean, Jared Jones is a guy who's going to give 100% of the time. Like he's just all gas, no brakes, like Jared Jones has that type of mentality and he wants to be out there and he wants to be competing. Like, the fact that he's continuously working to, improve his velocity and he's going through these bullpens and recovering from injury. Like, I mean, it's got to be killing him because he wants to be out there, throwing 100 and trying to blow fastballs by guys. So I think that right now he looks good. He looked good today in his side session. And I think that, it looks like he's trending in the direction of where he was supposed to be of, I'm going to return in May or June, which is, I think, kind of what we all expected. And kind of expected that, he would be the corresponding move with Urquidy getting signed. So, he's a guy who can be a big part of this rotation when he does return. And, I wouldn't put it past, Jones to be able to maybe get to that May, the early portion of that May to June timetable.
Sweet.
Real quick. Paul Skeens also said today, talking about Connor Griffin, saying that Connor Griffin's a guy, he's professional, does everything the right way, and he's going to help this team win games this year. If you would ask me a month ago, like, is Connor Griffin going to make this team? I would have said there's no chance. On MLB.com, I think it was yesterday, Jonathan Mayo and Jim Callis both put it like right around 50 to 60%. FanDuel's Rookie of the Year odds now have Connor Griffin third best odds in the National League. I feel like there's a lot of smoke and momentum now for like Connor Griffin's got a shot to do this. What are you hearing about this? And like is Connor Griffin going to start at shortstop for this team on opening day?
I mean, I think there's a chance. I think he's going to get every opportunity to show what he can do. And I think he's going to make them make a difficult decision. And I think it's going to depend on him being healthy, him actually producing with the given opportunities. And I know, spring training games, it's like, okay, well, if you produce during spring training, what does it mean? Well, for a 19-year-old kid, I think it means a whole lot, so, and I think they're going to have to gauge whether they feel like he's ready. I mean, you look at Connor Griffin, I mean, he's not, it doesn't look like your typical 19-year-old. Like it's unbelievable. Like, watching him, during BP today, like hearing the ball come off his bat, it's just, it's unreal. Like it's hard to even like put into words, so he's not your typical prospect. He's not your typical 19-year-old kid. So I think he should be given every opportunity. I mean, why not? Like if he's ready and he's capable of being your best option at shortstop, then it's something they absolutely like should pursue. And I get, the thought of he hasn't played above AA. Like I understand that, but if a guy can play, he can play. So I'd think that he has a decent shot. I wouldn't say like it's not a guarantee whatsoever. Like he's going to have to earn it. But I think in the very least, we see Connor Griffin at some point in 2026. Like that and Paul Skeen's saying that. I don't think he said that by mistake. Like I think he truly believes that Connor Griffin can help this team in 2026. And, if Paul Skeen says something like that, that's a pretty big endorsement.
One thing that Pirates fans are also like, we're just conditioned to know about service time, right? And starting the clock and when you start the clock. If you start the clock on Connor Griffin when he's 19, it means he's a free agent at 25. So I guess my follow-up to that is like Connor Griffin extension. Have there been talks? Have you heard anything there? Is this something that is likely to happen?
I mean, I think it's something that could happen. I mean, I believe that it is in their best interest to I mean, we've talked about it. I think I've talked about it on one of your guys' show. Like I would have done it a year ago. Like I would have done it, before, or maybe not like a year ago, but like when he's tearing it up in the minor leagues, like that's when you're kind of like, all right, like look at what the Brewers did with Jackson Churio. You look at what the Red Sox did with, Roman Anthony. I think they did with Christian Campbell as well. Like, they see the young talent that's, coming through their system, and you realize like your best chance of, obviously it's a risk. Like you don't know if Connor Griffin actually is going to be as productive in the major leagues as he has been in his, 1 year of pro ball. But sometimes you got to take those types of risks. And I think the Pirates are in a position where that's a risk they should be willing to take, especially for a guy like Connor Griffin, who is so like consistently viewed as the top prospect in baseball. It's definitely something that should be on their radar. And I think it's something that they're interested in. It's just a matter of like, can you make something happen? And when do you make something happen?
Are you getting the sense that, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I think we're going the same place with it.
Well, no, it's just like I don't want to spend too much time. Jose, I told you we were going to have you off here at 9:15, so I was just going to ask one more question. But Tyler, if you got something to add.
Nope, I was going to ask about any remaining moves, and I think that might be where you're going.
That was my one move. So like the guys in camp right now, Ben Sherrington mentioned we're going to focus on the guys who were here. He said that yesterday during a press conference. Yeah, are you anticipating any more, I guess, big additions to this team outside just, maybe some small add-ons here and there?
Yeah, I think they're still looking. I think they're still, pursuing. Obviously, you want to get some more pitching depth. I know Ben Sherrington's talked about it doesn't need to happen in terms of it being a left-handed starting pitcher, but you would like to maybe have a left-handed option in the mix. Like you look at some of the guys who might be, candidates for that number 5 spot. And obviously Jose Urquidy, gets brought in. He actually looked really good pretty good in his side session today too. So he could be a candidate. Obviously like internally, coming back, you look at, Carmen Majinski has starting experience. You have Hunter Barco, but he's had 3 innings at the end of last season. So he still, I think, has some stuff to prove. They brought Mike Clevenger in on a minor league deal. So, maybe he shows something in spring training, but I think you do want to bring in another arm. Obviously Jose Quintana to me seemed like the best fit. And with him going to Colorado for $6 million, it's quite a choice. But, and I don't know if, the Pirates actually even made an offer to Quintana or not, but 1 year, $6 million for a guy like him seemed like, the right move. But Tyler Anderson's still out there. You got some left-handed options, and you got some, other, and it doesn't have to be a lefty. You got some other right-handed options as well. And I think third base is still, there's still possibilities there, so we've seen it the last couple of years, right? 2024, they made some signings, I think during spring training games. Like I think Michael A. Taylor was signed in like the middle of a spring training game. Like Andrew Heaney last year, it was after the workouts in Pirate City that they brought him in. So there are still things that they can do, and they're still looking to make some moves. So I'd expect that at least another starting pitcher option, and maybe they shock everyone and get a third baseman. I don't know how you guys feel about Jared Triolo being the starting third baseman on opening day, but I can tell by your faces that you'd probably rather have somebody else.
You know
I'd
what?
rather have someone else.
If
But,
Connor Griffin's starting
being a
shortstop,
utility.
I could live with it.
Jim, I think, if Griffin's at shortstop, like you could probably get away with Jared Triolo's Gold Glove defense at third and take him batting at the bottom of your lineup.
And if Griffin's not ready, I think you can get away with Triolo at short and somebody else at third.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that it's possible they can continue to be active even though spring training begins. It's not like the activity has to stop. There's still some names out there.
Good stuff. All right. Well, Jose, I appreciate you hopping on here. It's been a long day for you, I'm sure. So log off, go enjoy your evening. Where can everyone find you and your work this spring?
Yeah, take a look at us at DK Pittsburgh Sports. A lot of multimedia visuals and written material over there. Me and Greg McAfee. Greg's going to be here till Sunday with me. So, and I should be here for most of the action here in spring training. So, and I'm sure I'm going to see you guys very soon as well.
We'll see you in about 10 days. Yep.
All right, cool, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Jose.
Appreciate you.
All right. So that was Jose Negron from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Yeah, good stuff. I think, like I said, I there's so much going on. There's a lot of, I think the Connor Griffin thing has got me the most excited right now, more than anything, because I didn't think there was a chance. And the more and more I read, the more and more I like just have conversations with people. Like, I think this dude could start opening day.
I mean, my thought hasn't changed. They should give him every opportunity to, and if he proves that he can, he should be. They said last year they're willing and open to give him the opportunity, so I'm gonna hold them to it to this day. So if he goes out there and he balls out, he should be there on opening day. If he doesn't, then I understand.
Yeah, and to Jim's point there, I think what we've kind of seen is it seems like the Pirates are a little more open to him being here on opening day, which I don't know about you, Jim, but myself, I thought it wasn't a possibility because I didn't think the Pirates would allow it to be a possibility. It seems like the door might be at least cracked open on that end, and all you can do is give the guy a chance. I don't know if he's going to be ready or not, but you at least have to give him the opportunity through the spring.
Here's the thing. If they are truly giving him the opportunity, he's going to take it. Like that's the kind of player he is. If you tell him you got a shot at this, he's going to do it.
Can we also be honest? Who's taking it from him?
Right.
Again, like he has to go out there and pretty much, I mean, all things considered, I would want to see him really do well, because if not, then there's an idea, an excuse you can put him in AAA to prepare. But like if he's hitting 270, slugging 450, like that's not like tremendous, right? He's going to be doing better than whoever's out there still. Way better, probably.
Yeah. And I mean, it depends. The stats they're obviously important, but the at-bats definitely matter. How he's playing short matters.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean,
actually,
we're still talking. I know, but we're still talking about a 19-year-old guy. Sometimes we got to slow down.
I don't know.
And I believe in this guy.
His birth certificate. Because what's the first thing we said when we saw him last year at 18? This kid ain't 18 years old.
Yeah. He's got that bench warmers thing. I am 12.
Yeah. But no, for real. And like the other thing too is like I think it really is going to be focused just on him, because I say like who else going to take it from him, but honestly, like I know Triolo will be there, but he's at this point in time he's the third baseman. Nick Gonzalez will be playing for Team Mexico, so he's not in camp to battle out with. So like the people he'll be battling with, per se, to some level, like they're not there either. He just got to go there, and he's going to give a lot of opportunity, obviously. And like Jim said, especially in this environment, I feel like he's just going to do really well, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on the Pirates. Like we gotta put the money where the mouth is. We said we'll give an opportunity. He's proving it. So what are they going to do?
I don't think he's battling with anybody other than himself. Like if
Well,
he performs, he should be here. If not, he won't. Because like Nick Gonzalez is going to be on this roster regardless. It's not like he's battling with Nick Gonzalez. At some point, he's going to take
York.
a shot. Nick York is not battling with Nick York. Like, come on.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like he's not battling.
He
He's not battling for a bench spot. Like he is. If you're truly saying like you've got a shot here, like he's battling for the starting shortstop job. So he's not battling with Nick York. He's battling with Nick Gonzalez and maybe Jared Triolo if another third baseman comes in. But if Jared Triolo is the third baseman, then it's just, Connor, are you better than Nick Gonzalez? And based on everything I've seen, that's not even a question. And I like Nick Gonzalez, but like it's not even a question.
Especially a shortstop.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of goes back to it where like if there truly is an opportunity, he's not going to lose it.
I mean, that's
really good. Yeah, like he's the best player on the field.
But I mean, that's what it comes down to, though. Is there really an opportunity? And it sounds like there might actually be one. Because, well, let's be real. If
that's the real,
I'll be honest. If there wasn't a real opportunity, I think they would have acquired someone. There would be somebody, some sort of placeholder here.
Kind of ish, yeah. I feel like, again, that's why Jared Triolo was not important for this team, but that's also by getting a third baseman, which they haven't done so far. But like, I mean, maybe that is part of it. Maybe they're not that aggressive on third base because they feel Connor is going to be there opening day. Like you're saying, maybe we're big braining this. They're not all that aggressive on third base because they're also confident that they'll have Connor Griffin starting opening day. Anywho, I'm excited for Connor.
Someone had a great conversation with Tyler.
I know. People had great conversations with it. Yeah, they're awesome people.
The other thing too is if Connor Griffin is the opening day shortstop, like I would expect an extension to get done at some point in time.
It just makes all the sense in the world. All of it. I'm all for it. Because it's another case. I mean, again, I understand the whole Skeens situation. It's probably unlikely you're signing Skeens to an extension to begin with. But at this point in time, like you're certainly not. And don't run into that risk with Connor Griffin. Like, don't wait too late. When it's just like he's out of your price range. Like, do it now. I mean, he's still gonna get paid. It's still a big payday. You know, like I'm sure Andrew McCutchen isn't regretting in a sense of, signing an extension. Like, could he have made more money? Probably if he didn't. But like he still got paid. He's good. He's taken care of. Connor Griffin's gonna get taken care of even better than Andrew McCutchen did. So if we're talking about like Roman Anthony, like that's a good amount of money he got.
Yeah. And what happens if Connor Griffin comes up and struggles, DiNardo? What can you do with him?
You can send him down.
Mike Trout got sent down.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if he struggles.
But just a reminder, do it like April 1st.
Right.
So that way he qualifies for a PPR bonus and all that. Don't do it beforehand. Just say, Connor, we have an extension. Just don't put the ink on the paper until April 1st. The season starts, and then you're eligible to receive even more money. We're going to help you out, buddy. We're going to give you even more money. Go win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's what I'm most looking forward to this spring training. That like before I wasn't thinking it was an option, but I've completely shifted focus now to that is my number one story.
Are you going to be disappointed if he's not on the opening day roster?
It depends.
Okay.
Like if he looks like he's the best player for the job, then yeah, I'm going to be disappointed.
Everyone in this chat knows how we get. We will be insufferable.
Not us.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. Shout out to Coda and Nola for the YouTube memberships. You guys,
if I remember correctly, Dakota was what was the name earlier? Mountain 33. That was his wife that I met at Pirates Fest. Good people, good conversation,
good stuff.
Shout out to them for new member.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Marcel Ozuna?
Yes. It is funny. And I mean, a lot of times when we do an emergency podcast, like one or two of us haven't talked about it. Literally no one here has, because Cody, Doug, and Nate did it. So also good job on it. All of us were busy at the time. No one could hop on. So no one's actually talked about it. I think they did a good job. Many things they spoke of is how I feel about it as well. But yeah, there's so many layers to this. It's like, where do we even want to start? I mean, obviously, he brings in a solid bat to this lineup that's starving for what he can bring.
Yeah, let's start with that. I guess we'll start with the positives of this. There are pros and cons here. The pros are Marcel Ozuna can hit. he is a hitter, and he's pretty much always been a hitter. He had MVP votes 2 years ago, and not just like one or two, like he was in the top 5 conversation. He's literally 1 year removed from 39 homers. He's 2 years removed from 40 homers. Last year was a down year. He was injured. Bat speed suffered a little bit, but he had a 114 weighted runs created plus last year. He had 21 homers. That's still a major upgrade from what you were getting out of the designated hitter role. And at this stage of the offseason, if you're looking at who was available to add impact offensive talent to this lineup, like, he's it. And I think there's a pretty good chance that Marcel Ozuna is the best hitter on the 2026 Pirates. Like, there's a good shot that on February 9th, they added the best hitter on the team.
Can I add something real quick to that also?
Yeah.
And I think this is to add on how much his offense has actually improved. And again, he adds to that. You know, we said that this offense adds one more bat. And of course, we were thinking third base. But if this offense adds one more bat, we feel like we can talk about playoffs here. And they did that with Ozuna. And how you're mentioning, I just want to say again, like how you're mentioning he could be the best bat. I agree, but I do want to say there's probably 4, maybe even 5 guys you can put in that conversation. And that's in a conversation of an actual good bat, not just like, hey, that's the one guy that hit above average, so he by default is the best hitter on the team. Like, there's 5 guys in this lineup right now that you can debate, will they have the best bat in 2026 and it actually being good? Like, we're talking 120 weighted runs created plus, or potentially higher. So like, that's where we stand today. I didn't think we would get there, but like, here we are. And those 5, actually, I'm talking actually maybe make it 6, because I'm not thinking about Connor Griffin. He could entertain that as well. But yeah, Marcel Ozuna, like you mentioned, February 9th, that signing, that's a guy that you could say could be the best hitter on this team. And it's not in a joking way.
I think we all just froze up there for a second.
No, I think it was
Maybe
just you.
Okay, I froze up there for a second. Sorry, guys.
I was just waiting for you to say something.
Yeah,
Buddy, just
everybody was frozen
He
there.
just sat there
My
for
bad.
45 minutes.
The fit's definitely weird, just positionally. Obviously, they don't have a left fielder. We all know that. They're going to have to get creative in that regard. The positive of this that I think of is when you look at some of these guys who are more the, they lead with their bat, the guys that can hit the baseball, not defensive guys. as they age, one of the things I look at is, in Ozuna's case, how's he hitting righties still? Right on right. That seems to be one of the first things to go. We see it with Andrew McCutchen. He doesn't hit righties as well as he used to at all. He's a below average hitter against righties. Ozuna can still hit righties pretty well. He hit them better than he did against lefties last year. To me, it kind of shows the age isn't really there yet with him. He's not, father time hasn't really caught him completely. That's a positive to me. The metrics show he should be better than last year. It's hard not to like the move. Like, they got better at the plate. I said it last week, positions be damned. Maybe this is just what you have to do. Find 9 guys that can hit a baseball and we'll figure the rest out. At this point, they've at least improved this lineup where they should be able to score runs. And they've added power this offseason. Don Kelly's going to have to get creative. Like, he's going to have to find ways to give guys days off, move guys around, play them in positions that might be beneficial to them in certain parks, whatever it might be. But, hey, you got to find an inefficiency somewhere. They're trying something different. And how many times have we watched them trot guys out into the outfield that have never played the outfield before, and it's been a nightmare, and they also can't hit? At least these guys can hit.
And that's, yeah. And that's like, you're 100% right. You know, this is a weird off season because we jokingly say like this team brought in about 4 DHs. None of them. I mean, again, Brandon Lau, he can play second base technically, like, you know, put him there, but like, it's not a strength. He's not there because the glove exists, but it's like, hey, the bat plays well enough that it overcompensates. You know, defense is fine. I mean, it's not good, but it's fine enough that you can still put him there. You have Ryan O'Hearn come in. There's also Spencer Horowitz, and those actually are good first basemen, but they're not good outfielders, not good anywhere else. You know, with now Ozuna, like, that just complicates things. So yeah, there's a lot of weird fits, but again, this is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, granted, they've done it to themselves, but it's not like it's a premier destination. It's not like, hey guys, we need a hitter, and they have 100 people lining up saying, hey, pick me. And they could say, you know what? You're the perfect fit. You come here. They needed offense. They can't be too choosy on who they get. Yes, things make sense. And maybe that's why the trade made a whole lot of sense. We did say that a trade probably doesn't need to come first, because that at least opens the doors of making, you know, potential free agents look and say, hey, you know what? Maybe they are serious. And that's what happened. You know, they made a trade for the password. Not that it was going to move the needle, and we said so, but like, it was some offense. Then they go ahead and get Lowe and Mangum. So like, okay, maybe they're cooking. Ryan O'Hearn signs a week later. Now they got Ozuna. So again, like, they needed offense. They went and got it. You know, like, I know we're saying there's not perfect fits, but then we could be sitting here saying, you know, Ben Cherington saying, well, we had opportunities, but we didn't like that fit. We didn't like that fit. And they don't get an Ozuna. You know, they don't get whomever else. And it's like, well, they're trying to find the perfect piece that didn't exist, and now therefore they don't have anything. So it's like, yeah, like, it's not a great fit, but they went and got, like Jim says, the best hitter available. You can't really fault them. They did what they needed to do to the best they can.
Yeah, I mean, that's the cons here, right? I mean, and there's a few, but one of them is, you know, one of the things Ben Cherington said yesterday was Don Kelly would prefer that the designated hitter spot be something that he can rotate players in and out of and use it as a way to give guys off days and rest days. Well, if you're paying Marcell Ozuna $12 million, like, that's not happening. Like, are you only going to play Marcell Ozuna 100 times? No. Like, he needs to be in your lineup every single day. And the only place he can do that is a designated hitter. He can't play the field. Like, when we talk about like how these other guys, you can like piece them into spots where they maybe aren't the best fit, but like they can technically do it. That's Ryan O'Hearn can technically play the outfield, right? Brian Reynolds can technically play left field. Marcell Ozuna cannot play the outfield anymore.
Right.
I mean, first off, when he did play the outfield many, many moons ago, it was a disaster. Like, an absolute disaster. He couldn't throw the ball, for one. We've all seen the clip of him scaling the left field wall when the ball drops like 10 feet in front of the warning track. Like he can't do it. Like you cannot put Marcell Ozuna in the outfield in any circumstance. So that just limits that flexibility for you, right? Like the 25 games that you would have maybe wanted to put Brandon Lau at DH to keep him fresh and healthy, you're just not going to be able to do that anymore. That means those 25 days that you wanted to kind of give Brandon Lau a day off, maybe now you have to actually sit him. And maybe instead of 25, it's, 15 off days. And then same thing with Reynolds. Instead of giving Reynolds 25 days of designated hitter, you're going to have to sit him. Or it's just like a couple off day. So these guys, specifically O'Hearn, Lau, and Reynolds, those three guys, those would be the three people that you would kind of hope that you could have shifted through that designated hitter spot. But you can't do it anymore. Ryan O'Hearn's going to have to be an everyday player, most likely in right field, because Spencer Horwitz also needs to be in the lineup. Brian Reynolds needs to be an everyday player. Like all the one thing they did is they went out there and they got guys that you're like, I want this guy in the lineup every day. We haven't had that in God knows how long. So it's like they've kind of just pigeonholed themselves though into that. There's no way really to give these guys a day off while also keeping their bat in the lineup. They're going to have to make that decision of completely day off, or you're going to just have to play. That's it. They don't have the flexibility that they would have had they signed, I don't know, like an Andrew McCutchen for $5 million. And you say, Cutch, you're the DH 80 times. And then the rest of the times they're rotating these guys in and out. That's where the difference is here.
Yeah. And I just want to say something real quick, also just based on this comment, like he says, too many good hitters. Crazy. I know it's not that, just what it is. And that's kind of like what it is. It's too many good hitters. But the thing is, all the hitters they brought in that are good, it's like, again, they all play the same positions. There's not that flexibility. It's not like, okay, well, today you go play shortstop, or today you go play third or second. It's like right field, first base, DH. And we're forcing people to play like left field, because of it. So like, yeah, that's just kind of the problem. They brought on those guys that essentially play the same position. And so now you got to find ways to make them all be able to play. Therefore, they don't get like days off of the DH or whatnot.
They could also just suck it up and play. They stand in the grass for hours a day. Suck it up. Hit the baseball, suck it up, go play left field. You'll be fine. It's not literally that bad.
Tyler's going to go out there and run a marathon tomorrow. If you can't stand in the grass.
I can run a marathon tomorrow. You guys can jog to left field. You'll live. The bigger concern is whether they can actually play it. That's the problem. I don't care about days off. Suck it up.
I mean, I know it's kind of like suck it up, whatever. But like to Tyler's point, 4 years ago, the National League didn't have a designated hitter. So like, this is what you had to do. You had to play every day if you wanted to be in the lineup. So yeah, no, I get that sentiment. And like I said, it wasn't too long ago that was just how it worked. We've just based off of precedent, right? And I mean, we can go ahead and look it up here, right? But Brian Reynolds was a much better hitter when he was a designated hitter last year. Right? And so it's just one of those deals where do you get the most out of these guys if you do practice, quote unquote, load management, right? Which is a new thing that, if you've been watching baseball forever, you're probably like, what the hell is load management? Back in my day, Cal Ripken Jr. played 8 million games in a row, right? I get it. I understand it. But there is something to be said, like, hey, like if you do keep these guys a little fresher, do they perform better? Like what is better, to play at 162 games at 85% or to play 140 games at 95%, right? Like that's an equation you've got to balance and figure out what it is. I don't know the answer to that question. People who spend their life devoted to that sports science, whatever, like that's what they do. I don't know. But it seems like the Pirates are essentially going to have to say, hey, guys, you're going to have to play.
They're going to get an entire year off. They'll be fine.
It's like you guys can rest in 27.
You guys can rest next year. And also half of you won't be here, so I don't really care. Like they're all 1-year deals. What do I care?
But that's all fair. I mean, that's all fair. We can debate load management if it matters or not. I mean, I do think there's something to it. At what level, that's what's debatable. But, you're right. Like, that's what the complication of Marcell Ozuna leads to in this situation. It's that you're not going to be able to use the DH. And that's the thing, too. It's like, it's, again, like this load management days off. It's like, but they're not really getting a day off. They're just going into the DH role. It's just the day of not having to run to the grass and back to the dugout 9 times a game. You don't have to do that anymore, Tyler. You can just stand in the dugout in the nice shaded area.
You could sit
but again, that's the idea of it. Like, hey, you know what, Brian Reynolds, like, we still need your bat in the lineup, but here's your pseudo day off, DH.
Yeah.
Ron O'Hearn, DH. That doesn't happen now because you're paying $12 million for this only DH bat. But again, like that's the weird fit to this. But this certainly, in my eyes, makes this team better. It definitely makes the lineup better. And that's ultimately what you need. And to some level too, we talked, getting the defense, is it that important as it used to be, with the pitchers and especially this type of pitching staff that misses a lot of bats, right? If you're not having as many balls in play like you used to, there's less opportunities to make the errors. There's less opportunities, when you are a bad defender to lose the game, but you still have the same amount of opportunities to win the game with your bat. So again, there's that debate, but I also just want to bring this up too. With Marcell Ozuna, and someone's like kind of mentioned here also, the dude's a hitter. I know, right-hand bats and everyone worries about, bringing this hitter and how well they're going to do in PNC Park or whatnot. For the past 2 years, Marcell Ozuna hit 21 home runs last year at PNC Park. 19 of them would have been home runs. 2024, he hit 39 home runs at PNC Park. 37 of them would have been out. So like, there's not this huge difference of going from Atlanta, or anywhere else than coming into PNC. I don't see, again, like where you can make the argument with Paredes, which we have with Marcell Ozuna. I don't think it's like he's coming over here and then like, oh, he's zapped because PNC Park is going to ruin him. This is also a decent fit for his bat as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best fit for his bat. Like, it still is a difficult ballpark for righties, but I mean,
that's going to be true for anyone.
Yeah,
like that's, I also want to get that across. Like every righty has that. You know what I mean?
You still need right-handed hitters. Like you can't just trot out 9 lefties every single time. You need righties. And guess what? You play 81 games away from PNC Park. So it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not as big of a deal, I think, as people make it out to be. A lot of people too, I've seen in the comments of a lot of posts so far is, well, Marcell Ozuna sucks at PNC Park. Look at his career numbers. He's played like 30 games there. Like, are we going to judge? Are we going to like make a judgment on someone?
Has it even been 30?
30 games? Like, I'm going to go ahead and take the extremely large sample size.
It's been less. He has like 41 plate appearances, doesn't he?
Anyways, I'm going to take the extremely large sample size of 13 years worth of data that shows you that Marcell Ozuna is a good hitter. To go ahead and say, guess what? Marcell Ozuna is a good hitter.
Yeah. By the way, just again, point of reference. Okay, it is 36 games. My bad. Maybe that was Paredes I was thinking of. But yeah, 36 games, 225, 295, 310. Like, okay.
Okay, right.
That's a small sample over a decade.
It means nothing to me.
Just to add on here, one of the things I did like about this signing as well, and it's a guy that I've kind of been a little more negative towards. I really like what this does for Jake Mangum. This puts him in a position where he is way more valuable to this team to me. I like him a lot more in this 4th outfielder role. I did not like him as your starting left fielder at all. We all know that. Didn't want him starting every day. In a 4th outfielder role, when you can bounce him around a little more, you give those guys their off days and maybe get a little better defense. Coming off the bench in a spot where, you know what, I need to move a runner, I need a ball in play, something like that. He's your guy. You can pick and choose your spots with him. This, to me, makes Jake Mangum a lot more valuable.
I agree. I think this puts Jake Mangum in a much better spot as opposed to just being your everyday left fielder. Like you can now use him to play all three outfield positions if you need to. You can use him as a late inning defensive replacement. I'm with you there. I think this makes Jake Mangum a more useful player to this team.
It's almost like the Jared Triolo argument. I'd much rather have Jared Triolo as a super utility guy with Mangum and like with Triolo. Like if an injury happens and your third baseman is going to be out for a month, like you're fine with Jared Triolo playing third base for the month. And like with Jake Mangum, I'm fine if something happens and he has to be the starting left fielder. But the fact that he's the fourth outfielder, like, yeah, and that's like the caveat here. It's like you're playing guys, especially the corners, probably also center field. Hopefully there's some improvement from O'Neill Cruz, but definitely the corners are not going to be good defensively. So knowing you have that in your back pocket, we can put him in here, defensive replacement, whatever. Yeah, there's a lot of options at Don Kelly's disposal at this point in time, which again is just wild to say. This isn't a great offense, but it's solid. It really is. We've talked how many times that this has to be just a below average offense, and they're there. Like this, I think can be at least below average.
I think that's a floor. Like just slightly below average might be. I think averages might be the floor. Like maybe slightly below average. There's some things could go wrong.
There's still some.
Yeah, there's some risk here.
It depends on how
variables.
Bad some players are. Like if Henry Davis doesn't get better,
Right.
then that's rough. If Jared Triolo is first half Jared Triolo, then that's rough. So like there are things to bring this down, but like overall, you're looking at this team offensively, and it's a good looking lineup. Like this is a really good looking lineup right now. If you would have just said, "Hey Jim, this is our lineup heading into 2026," I would not have believed you. Like if you could just cross out all the names and just like given me stats, I'd be like, what in the hell did Ben do this offseason? I mean, because you think about it, he added 2 All-Stars. He added another guy, I said, who's in his down year was still one of the best, would have been the best hitter on your team last year. He added 3 of those dudes. Then he added a 4th dude who, raises your floor a ton. So yeah, well done by Ben Cherington this offseason. Like he did a good job. Like it took him. It was a weird way of getting there. It took longer than probably we hoped. It didn't really come together the way that we expected or hoped to see. There's still maybe one more thing there that we would like to see too. But like all in all, he did a pretty good job putting this offense together based off of where it was at the end of last season. I'm not saying a lot because I don't compliment Ben Cherington very often.
Right. And I agree. Because let's take it back 6 months. We're talking about 2026. And it's like this team needs like 4 bats. I mean, they do. If you want to talk, playoffs and where this team needs to be next year, like they need 4 bats at least. And I don't think any of us were confident that they could even acquire that. They would be able to even acquire 4 bats to make this team where it needs to be, which is really why a lot of the talk was the goal is to make Andrew McCutchen the 7th best hitter. Because like you're probably acquiring 3 bats at most. That's why Andrew McCutchen's going to stay, because even though he was just about an average hitter at the DH role, he's still one of your better hitters. Well, guys, Ben cooked to some level this offseason. He acquired some hitters. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to perceive this, when you look at it, by doing so, it squeezed out Andrew McCutchen. And like, so I'll say this. I'm still a proponent of having Andrew McCutchen on the team. But my whole premise of why are we even entertaining not bringing Cutch back was built around there's no way Ben can bring in 4 offensive players at minimum. He hasn't been able to bring in 1 in how many years? How's he going to bring in the amount needed in 1 year? And he did it. So, like, I do think at this point in time, an argument certainly can be made. Now, with that said, and that's what we're leading here to, Marcell Ozuna does come in. Again, we talk about the square pegs and the round holes, like he is a DH. Is Cutch's tenure over with the Pirates? Will we ever see him in a Pirates uniform again, at least in a lineup, not in bronze?
I think based off of what we heard yesterday from Ben Cherington, I think we've seen the last of Andrew McCutchen in a Pirates uniform, which sucks. I mean, let's just call it like it is. Like, it sucks. Noah Howells had an awesome article today where, like, it talked about Andrew McCutchen's last plate appearance at PNC Park. It was in front of 17,000 people in a blowout against Oakland, right? And he struck out, and that was it. There was no, hey, come to PNC Park to see Andrew McCutchen's last game. Like, as a fan, it sucks that I didn't know I was watching Andrew McCutchen's last at bat or last game as a Pittsburgh Pirate. Like, that sucks because he's meant so much to not only my fandom, but, you know, Pittsburgh, the city of Pittsburgh, all of us on this show, everybody in the comments. Like, if we would have figured all this out a little bit ago, this could have been so much better. Like, so much better. I would have driven to Pittsburgh to go to that game. Like, I would have bought a ticket and gone to that game, and they probably would have sold PNC Park out, right? Say, come here, say goodbye to Andrew McCutchen. We didn't get to have that. So I think that's what, as a fan, that's the shitty part of this, is like just seeing it end like this, like seeing it end with, they're just not going to re-sign him. He's gone. Like, he's done. We're not going to see Andrew McCutchen as a Pirate anymore. That's kind of the realization that's coming right now. And it sucks. It sucks. Another good thing Noah wrote in that article was like, if like the way that you make it not suck as much, you better win. You better win this year. You have to. You have to win this year. If you don't, and all you do is put out another subpar team, but this time it just didn't have Andrew McCutchen, and you robbed your fans that moment to really like say goodbye to him, that sucks. So like now you owe it to all of us, Pittsburgh Pirates. You owe it to everyone. You better win this year. You better win.
I can't really disagree with anything you said there, Jim. Like, obviously, he means a ton to this team, a ton to this organization, a ton to this city. I'm obviously, the way they've handled it might not have been the best way to go about it. But if he's going to go out, I'm glad he's going out because they just acquired better players than Andrew McCutchen. Like, they have just gotten to a point where it's hard to roster him because he's not good enough anymore. They have guys that are better than him. So if they're not bringing him back, I'm glad it's because they just have guys that are too good that you really just can't roster this guy because he's just going to take a spot. And I know there's arguments to be made to keep him around or keep him as a bench bat. I can hear all those. I think there's an argument to be made in that regard, but it is what it is, man. Like, he was bad last year. He wasn't that good the year before. He says he can play in the field. Obviously, the Pirates don't believe he can, or else they would have played him out there. He's whined nonstop, getting a little bit tired of the whining. But they got better. I wish it could have happened while he was here. It should have happened while he was here. They screwed up these last 3 years. They screwed up this Andrew McCutchen reunion completely. But if I'm just looking at this 2026 team, sorry, Cutch, there's just not room for you.
Yeah. Tyler started stealing my thunder there on my point. Because, yes, I wanted Andrew McCutchen back for a number of reasons. And again, the first part was what I mentioned. I just simply didn't think they had it in them to be able to upgrade enough where Andrew McCutchen gets squeezed out. There were so many other players to improve upon till you even reach Andrew McCutchen on this bad team, no matter how bad he was last year. I think he can be better. I think with ABS coming in, likely, like he will be better. But they did things where, again, like you mentioned, like you can make the argument. This offense is kind of legit right now. And where does he fit if he is just a DH? Do I think he can play the field also? Like, do I think he can spell a guy here and there to give him some added value and another reason to be on the bench? Sure. But I'm not sure they think that way. But I guess my biggest thing about this whole situation, so because again, I'm fine with 2026 as long as they win. My biggest thing is you had a legend to most people that are watching this show right now, because again, like who's the most recent Pirate that's you can even put in that status outside of like people from like 92 or later. You know what I mean? Like it's Andrew McCutchen. This is a guy who's done a lot for many fans to bring baseball fans and such back to Pittsburgh and such. So like he's very important in that regard. And this is the guy who went out of his way to call Bob Nutting to say, I want to play here. And at that press conference, he said, you know, when I was in Milwaukee's dugout, I looked across and I saw that team and there's something special brewing. This team is the reason why us, speaking of Milwaukee at the time, aren't in the playoffs. They beat us. You know, I see some potential here. I want to be here. And I'm also not here to have a retirement tour. So I do want to partly put that on Cutch as well. Okay. No shade, but Cutch made it a point. I don't want that. I want to play. I want to win. And that's what he came here to do for those 3 years. So I know it sucks he doesn't get the retirement tour, but for those 3 years that he was here, he also didn't want that. My biggest problem with this whole situation is for 3 years, you had the opportunity to do something, Ben Cherington. Like you had the opportunity with Cutch's here. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and fulfill his prophecy of this is going to be a good team. And for 3 years, you failed. When he came in, 76 wins. The following year, 76 wins. The third year, 71 wins. You couldn't do anything to build around him. And it's now when you finally decide to do something in the offseason. To me, that's what sucks. That's what sucks the most. Why couldn't you do this any other time? And it's not like what you're doing right now is earth-shattering that any other team does or doesn't do. You know what I mean? Like, oh, just build a capable offense. Oh, okay. That's to me the biggest problem with the whole Andrew McCutchen thing is he came here and you just chose to continue to suck.
Yeah. Like I said, it sucks. It sucks. I said, so go out there and win.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And win so hard that you bring it back on the very last day of the season because you've already locked up home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Screw you, LA. And you can give Andrew McCutchen his final at bat at home.
Yeah, it just sucks. It is what it is.
Is he going to play somewhere else?
If he does, he does. I mean, good for him if he does. And I'll hope the best for him.
I think he still can. I mean, you look at some teams out there that there's still some teams I think that could use him. So I think he still obviously wants to play, and I think eventually somebody will come call and offer him something. But I even think there's still, like we talked about a little bit before, and I'm not going to get into it, but like I mean, right now this team still, like, the bench still could use another bat, and if he's willing to just be a bench bat who can pinch hit against lefties. And like, I think there's a spot for him because I mean, right now let's assume Connor Griffin makes the team. That changes things a little bit because then Nick Gonzalez goes to the bench. You got your catcher, your second catcher. You got Jake Mangum, but then you got one more spot. It's not going to be Joe Stinson Garcia because you're not going to just let him rot on the bench. He's going to go AAA. So, like right now, that last bench spot is Nick York or Jack Suwinski. Like that's who it is. It's one of those two guys, right?
And Manuel Valdez.
Or in Manuel Valdez.
There's your answer.
So, like, just objectively speaking, who would I rather have from Nick York and Manuel Valdez or Jack Suwinski or Andrew McCutchen? I would rather give me Andrew McCutchen to sit on the bench and pinch hit against left-handed pitchers if you need him to.
Yeah.
There's enough spots for this to happen because guess what? They did a good job building this lineup. Like you don't need to, these guys need to be in the lineup every day. Like there's not really spots for these guys. If someone gets hurt, then you call up Garcia. Then he's your next guy up.
I can't believe I'd rather have Valdez than Andrew McCutchen.
I mean, that's absurd. That's an absurd thing to say.
Nuts.
Because Valdez can't play anywhere defensively anyways.
He plays all the spots that are occupied by the other 13 players.
If you're telling me York, Suwinski, Valdez, and McCutchen, give me Cutch.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
I'd be fine with them. I'd be fine bringing it back. If it doesn't happen, I'm not upset. It is what it is at this point. They've done enough for me that I'm not going to be upset if they don't bring him back.
And that's where I'm at too. It's like the offense is better than I expected. My whole argument was surrounded by that, and they've done what I thought they couldn't do. So I can't really make that much of an argument. Would I like them back? Absolutely. Like I think there's still a spot on the bench, but I get it. They had to find offense in ways, and they found it in ways that pushed them out.
Life happens.
It's 10:13 already, Tyler.
Yeah, I'm sleepy.
You got a marathon to run tomorrow.
I do.
He's got a marathon to run.
I'm not going to lie. I was throwing BP at practice tonight and my foot started cramping up. Just from throwing BP. I can't run.
Where's the updated Pirates odds at, by the way, with this size?
They're still
last night it didn't move.
They're still at 77.5 wins.
So FanDuel,
according to FanDuel, but Fangraphs, they did like Fangraphs playoff odds right now. The Pirates are currently at a 44% chance to make the playoffs. They've got them at 83 and 79. 24% chance to win the division. Fangraphs says that the Pirates right now,
this is wild,
are the 6th best team in the National League in terms of percentage to make the postseason. So like if the season were to end right now, they're saying Pirates 3rd wild card.
Stop the count. No one can sign anyone else.
It's wild. Wild.
It is.
Paul Skeens is plus 250 to win the Cy Young.
Take that bet.
That is going to drop really quickly to even money. Probably by May.
Probably.
Paul Skeens might have like the Cy Young locked up for the next however many years.
What about Connor Griffin for Rookie of the Year, Don Kelly for Manager of the Year, and
what's that parlay get you?
I mean, if the Pirates make,
we could buy the Pirates probably.
If the Pirates make the postseason, Don Kelly's Manager of the Year, like that's
so. So find the parlay.
And Ben Sherrington might be GM of the Year.
No. Honestly, though, what a wild turn that would be.
Yeah.
Because honestly, you have argument there.
Yeah.
What if the Pirates do a clean sweep? Who's going to be MVP? Also Connor Griffin?
Shohei Ohtani while the Pirates win the World Series.
O'Neal Cruz.
Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens will do Cy Young and MVP.
If Paul
Rookie of the Year, Connor Griffin. Manager of the Year, Don Kelly.
if Paul Skeens goes like 26-2 with a 1.8 ERA, then yeah, probably. I think we're getting a little carried away though.
Yeah, we're good.
Guys, I think I'm getting some Bucko fever.
I hate him so much.
Do you feel?
I hate him. Thank you.
Unbelievable.
I needed that. I needed a break.
You know what else happened today, Tyler?
What's up?
I'm back on Twitter.
You are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. I had to create a new account.
North Side.
It's North Side Notch still, but the last O in Notch is a 0.
There's not really a good way to say that.
That was the only way. That was the only way I could do it. So I am back on Twitter. So that I think that was the biggest news of the day. It wasn't pitchers and catchers reporting. It was that I'm back. But
you made a graphic on Instagram.
I'm excited. I'm excited to be back on Twitter.
We're glad to have you back, Jim. Not him.
Do we have anything else to talk about?
No.
I appreciate everybody in the comments. You guys were crazy in the chat. For the first half of the show, for some reason, it wasn't updating, so we couldn't really throw your comments up there. And now it's just it's too fast to keep up. But you guys are awesome. Like the video if you haven't. Subscribe to the page. Leave a review on the podcast if you're listening to the audio. You can leave comments too on Spotify. Yeah, don't leave any bad reviews. Like we don't want any of that. Good reviews only. 5 stars. 5 stars only.
If you don't like me, just don't comment, please. It's fine. I don't need to hear it.
Anyways, I've already got a few people lined up for the point on Friday, so that'll be the next thing that we do. So stay tuned for that. 8 p.m. Friday night. I've already got 3 out of the 4 spots lined up, so we're just waiting on the 4th one to finish up. So plenty to talk about. Like I said, second day of pitchers and catchers reporting tomorrow. More people rolling in. Pretty much everybody's already reported to camp already as well. So yeah, more storylines to come.
Lots to talk about, and we'll be down there shortly.
We will be. All right, guys. Appreciate you all. See ya. All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.